Hey there, honey, and welcome back to Eda Financial, the place where I, Lauren Guest, am here to help wives of financial free spirits show up in their marital finances with grace and confidence. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about communication. We've kind of been on this topic for a minute, but there's still a couple more things I'd like to touch on. In one of the last videos, we talked about words not to use, and I'm sure you're sitting there listening to like, okay, don't use those, but what can I use? What do I need to use? And as a woman, you embrace the beauty of God. And that beauty is what invites the world into his presence. And this is what's going to show up in your marriage when you're talking to your husband. This is where this really is going to show up. So, the words that you will be using in your marital finance conversations are they need to be inviting and encouraging and comforting and graciously challenging. I'm not saying that you need to be all sunshine and rainbows. There's points that we need to be challenging our husbands in a gracious and Christ driven way, if that makes sense. So what does that kind of look like? So one of the things that we can talk about is one of the things you could say is you always blow the budget. Okay, that's not going to work. How can we, instead of saying you always blow the budget, what can we say? You can say, why does this category challenge you? So there's probably one specific category where your husband tends to blow the budget, and looking at this category, asking, say, are we not putting enough in this category, or is it a challenge for you? What's going on here? And actually have a conversation about it, not just you're blowing the budget and you need to fix it. Hey, how can we, do we need to take something away from another category? What does that look like? And work through that budget with him. Another thing that you might be tempted to say is you don't care about our finances. Just you don't care about our finances. That's really just kind of a whiny statement. There's nothing really that's not a conversation having statement. It's just a whiny statement. And the way that you can reword that is, what can I do to make our finances more interesting to you or a bigger priority to you? What can I do in this situation to make this more inviting? Because this money is going to be a part of our lives, hon. Like, money is going to be a part of our marriage, and I want this to be a place that is inviting, that is encouraging, that you are interested in being in. I know there's parts of it that y'all are going to have, you break it up. Each of you have your strengths, each of you have your weaknesses, and bringing those to the table that's what we do in the body of Christ, right, guys? It says nothing is more important or less important than another. Like, no body part is. We all work together to function as a whole. And that's how this is within your finances. You're like this mini body of Christ, you and your husband, and you have strengths and weaknesses alike. And so asking him, say, hey, what can I do to make this more interesting to you? And maybe he doesn't know, but even just that question, say, maybe you don't know the answer to this question right now, but please think about it and let's touch base with it again. Because one of the things to remember when you're in your finances is a lot of times we make statements or assumptions that about things that really aren't that important in your marriage. Like, ask yourself, is this going to be important in 5 years? If it's going, whatever's going on is going to be important in 5 years, make it a priority. If it's not, like if he just spent an extra $10 on eating out this month, is that going to matter in 5 years? No, probably not. Even something as big as taking out a loan on a vehicle, that's not going to be that big of a deal in 5 years, but it's something that still needs to be addressed. I mean, these conversations, I think we blow them out of proportion, out of impulse a lot of times, because we see we're in middle of it and right in middle of it, and it can seem like such a big deal right now. But stopping and removing yourself away from that for just a minute and say, okay, let's balance this out. Let's react in a way that's responsible and takes into consideration him. And so that's a way that you can kind of look at that. Another one is, I hear this one a lot. I wish you would help me I wish you would help me with the finances. I wish you would help me. That's just whiny. That's another just a whiny statement. I wish you would help me. I wish you would help me. It doesn't do any good. He might be like, okay, like, all right, cool. Another one is, can you help me? Yeah. He can answer. Yeah. Can I? Yeah. Can I? Well, I can help you. That still didn't help anything. That still didn't bring any sort of progress. The way we got to answer this or ask the question is be straightforward. Honey, will you help me on this? And give them a time. Will you help me on this tomorrow after work? Or will you help me with this evening? Or will you help me with this on Saturday whenever we don't have any, since we don't have anything going on? Will you help me at this time? Like, and say it ahead of time. And then maybe even give them, like, if you're saying, hey, will you help me on this tomorrow after work? Remind him the next day, hey, remember, we're going to talk about this deal this evening whenever you get off of work. Just one little reminder. You don't have to be a nag. You don't have to be a nag about it. Just gracefully challenge them to come into the conversation. Another thing is, another way to come to it is in a way that invites him in by already knowing him. Now, if you don't know what your husband's like big dreams and goals, vision, values, if you don't know what those are already, that's where we need to start. Go back and really study your husband. I mean, when y'all were dating or when you were wanting to date him, you studied him. You tried to get to know him. You knew what his likes were, his dislikes. You knew where he wanted to eat, where he didn't want to eat. Like you knew when he was going to be driving by at this certain time and you were going to accidentally be there. Like that's what people do when they're dating. Why do we stop doing that when we're married? I don't know. The day-to-day things get in our way. But if you come to him and say, hey, I know that you have this dream of buying a boat. I could really use your help in the finances to try to figure out how to make that possible. I know it's a reality. We just need to tweak some things, and I would love you to be a part of the process. Or I know that you have a dream of chasing your passion of photography. Or I know that you have a dream to, I don't know, whatever inspires him to want to be a part of the process. Like he has dreams, he has things that he wants that to happen, that he has things that he wants to buy. Tell him that you know that that's a reality and bring him into the conversation with you. Let me know if this was helpful in the comments, or if you have any questions, you're welcome to send them my way in an email or anything so we can have a conversation. I would love to hear from you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.